Nigeria, one more. I don't like Yakwano. Huh? Yakwano. What's on it? You qualify. Ghana, you qualify.
Don't we all just hate the international break? I don't. I love it actually. It's very fun. You know, it's very fun when you get a break from club football because some of these clubs are very much stressing. Anyways, I'm gonna be talking about the World Cup qualifiers, and I don't know if anybody's excited to hear about it or was excited to watch it, but I think there's so much around it because who doesn't like, unless you're a team in Europe whose team always goes to the World Cup and it's easy, then it's nothing to you. But all these other teams who, you know, made history or went back for the first time in a long time, this is just so important and monumental, and just had to talk about it, of course. I wanted to talk about each continent in a separate video, but nobody has time for that and to edit all of that now. So I'm gonna just do one big video, and I don't care if it's long or not. You can sit through, watch it, skip through it, I don't care. I'm gonna put timestamps, so if you want to just browse through each continent, that's fine with me. So of course I'm gonna start with Europe. Everybody wants to focus on Italy and want to talk about them failing to qualify, which I will talk about, but let's talk about the team that did that. North Macedonia. They are 2 million people in their population, roughly 3, you know, if you're not being exact. They're ranked 67 in FIFA, and they did the unspeakable. They knocked out the world champions out of a World Cup spot. Now, even though they won't make it to the World Cup and they won't be there, they can still look at this and be proud of themselves, because in this and past qualifiers, they've been good. They've challenged some of the big teams, and I know it's not like club football where you can buy whoever you want to make the side better, but they can look at this as a nation and say, we're going a step forward. And who can tell, they might be at the World Cup someday, and it may be a very lovely story. But they were good. They had a few good moments. As I said, they beat Germany before. They beat a lot of teams that are prestigious teams, and it was just so sad they couldn't get across the line, which Portugal eventually beat them. Moving right along to the European champions, Italy. No, not in the slightest do I feel sorry for Italy, and I know it might come off the strongest, but they had the easiest group. They had some of the easiest qualifiers, and I don't think there's a logical explanation as to why you'd lose to North Macedonia. Not to disrespect North Macedonia, but as I said, they're European champions. They've been some of the best teams in the world to win that. And so there's nothing you could say to let me say, oh, well, sorry. No, I don't feel sorry for you. This is now the second consecutive World Cup that Italy has missed, and I think this is a broader, you know, thing to look at, a broader thing that they should identify. What's the problem? What's the issue? Why they're not crossing that finish line? And you can talk about, I think there's two main problems we can spot out. One, they're too complacent in the qualifying. They draw too much games. They tend to let the guard down. They tend to go defensive first, which oftentimes never work in international football. You have to be brave and courageous and play attacking to win anything. Again, you're coming up on a team that mainly has 29 to 30-year-olds in the starting lineup. So it's not like you can go back and rebuild and think again. No, most of these players are going to be too old to play at the next World Cup. And then the young stars that you have, they're not brilliant, where you could say, because Italian football has been at its decline. And you look in the Italian league, the players who are dominating the league, it's English-based players from other countries, and a few Italians are immaculate in the league, but nothing spectacular. So that's my thing. I don't feel sorry for the lightest. I don't think there's going to be anything we're gonna miss of Italy in the World Cup. But yeah, they can try again in the next one. I want to just quickly mention France because they played a few friendlies, and I see that Deschamps have opted for a new, what did I say his name like that? Didier Deschamps. I have to make it sound good. He has opted for a new system, and not necessarily new because we saw him try it in the Euros and that didn't go as well as planned. But I think he has the right idea but the wrong execution, and the minute he unlocks this, like, there's no doubt that they have that star power, because when you look at a France lineup when they're playing some small teams, it's like, wow, this team is going to the damage and this team can do damage. But the only thing stopping them is themselves, to be honest. The only way France and the tactics as well may fail them in the long run. So I just thought I'd mention them because I see where he's going with it, but I don't think he's doing it right. Yeah, there are a few individual brilliant moments. Does that sound well? That sounded right. We saw Gareth Bale had an absolute stunner. He was amazing, and he's forever going by his motto: golf, Wales, Madrid, in that same order. It is always going to be like that, and that's great. But to think about it, he has not played a major football game in quite some time, and for him to put on that performance was just amazing. It's just so sad to see his footballing career going that way, and you argue that, is it because he's not interested at Madrid? Is he not getting the chances? Is it just that the end is near for him there? But it's always like that with players who turn up for the national team and don't play for their club, right? It's always like that. Great seeing Christian Eriksen back with Denmark after his unfortunate incident at the Euros. It's poetic. That's what football is like. You have lows and then you have a triumphant moment. That was great. I'm also very excited to see Denmark at the World Cup. I expect them to go further as they did in the Euros, and expect them to, challenge, not to win the entire thing, but challenge. Yeah, last but not least in Europe, I think I should mention Portugal, I guess. They as well, if they didn't make it, I wouldn't bat an eye. I wouldn't feel sorry, because you guys played some teams that you can't even search them up. So to wait on the last moment to qualify is just, Moving right along to the next continent in line, Africa. Now, if there are any continents that I do feel sorry for or would feel away for teams are not there, it's Africa, Asia, and all these other countries who do not get 13 World Cup spots. Africa, they get 5 spots, and you're thinking about some of the biggest over there, some of the biggest teams not being there. It's hard to wrap your mind around that. Speaking of big teams, of course, Senegal is going to their 3rd World Cup, and to me, in my mind, you can't convince me that I'm not Senegalese. So I'm very proud of them and how far they've came in from their AFCON win to now, and they're just a mega team. Sorry to Egypt, but the better team won. And if you were to pick between which team in terms of star quality is going to compete, I'd say Senegal. Egypt is Mo Salah and the rest. Not to be rude, but it's like that. Senegal has a compact and well-driven team, so they deserve to go through. The Senegal coach made history at the last World Cup, being the youngest, being one of the managers and players to qualify for a World Cup. So I'm expecting more great things from him coming into the 2022 World Cup. No Nigeria for the first time since 2006. It's a huge disappointment. You can imagine if you watched my AFCON video where I talked about Nigeria coming up short in the talent that they have and the direction that they're going in and some of the choices that they made. Change of coach, experimenting with lineups, the tactics, not using the talent that they have. It's just so much to go into it, and I think this is not a moment where you say they deserved it not to be there this time around. They can look at this and change some of the interior things and then come back at the next one. Now Ghana, who knocked out Nigeria, made drastic changes and it showed. As I said, in AFCON they were very disappointing to me, and to now see them in the qualifiers put up this resilient fight to make it through the end was great. Thomas Partey, a huge asset to them. He was amazing throughout the qualifying. Stunned me, especially because I've never been a fan of him like that. Not that he's not a good player, but I've just never been a Thomas Partey enthusiast. Also, you can look at Ghana potentially having some of the world's best youngsters in the team coming in by the summer. Some of those who are probably thinking to pledge to them and change the nationalities. And they could be a super team going into the World Cup, and they could have more strength to back up. So yeah, if those youngsters do decide to join the team, then we can look out for Ghana at the World Cup doing some spectacular things. Moving right along to North. This is difficult for me to say. North and Central America, also including the Caribbean. I hope that made sense. Canada, what a beautiful story. Heading back after 86 years. That is just so phenomenal. The reaction, Alfonso Davis' reaction, the coach, the country, the people, Drake. It was just amazing to see, and this is why I said international football is peak. Like, it's just so exciting to see these people, you know, be proud of where they're from and rep where they're from. It's really good. I'm really excited to see what they'll do on the big stage, because they have so many young and fresh upcoming talent, and they've shown that in the qualifiers, and I think that that's going to be exciting to watch at the World Cup. Unlike Canadians enjoying this joyous moment came at Jamaica's advance. Even though Jamaica's already out, but they played when they played Jamaica, they qualified. And as a Jamaican myself, I wonder if I'll ever experience that happiness, because in 1998, I wasn't there. I wasn't born. You know, I'm young, very young and fresh. So I didn't get to experience that. And now as I get older, I'm like, wow, it seems like a dream to see a country reach that height of success, and I'd love to, yeah, experience that. I had to mention Jamaica, of course. USA, they also are back in the World Cup after missing the 2018 World Cup, and you think that a country such as them, you know, called soccer, would be there, because they've built a very good program to sustain youngsters and send them to Europe to learn more, and the coaches are also coming up, but they missed it. So this time around, you think that they've gone back to the drawing board, and they've seen what other nations are doing, what it takes to reach that level of success. And as I said, I'm so excited to see what they also come in. They have Captain America, the greatest youngster ever to come onto the United States. I'm joking. Playing for them. So we'll see how much we miss them and their, you know, extravagance. Moving right along to South America. No major upsets in this. They have some of the hardest. I think you'd rank them second in terms of the hardest knockout phases. Yeah, no major upsets. The only thing you can think of is Colombia and Chile not making it. And this is not 2010, 2014 anymore. Times have changed. They're not the best. They're not the most competitive, and it's okay. We'll survive. We'll survive without them. Brazil and Argentina, and I'll talk about them both simultaneously. I keep using words, and I hope they're right. Yeah, they have something to prove. Both these countries have done rather poorly in previous World Cups, and it's been a lot for the stars of these countries to show up and bring back that amazing trophy. And yes, so this may be Messi's last dance, and he has an amazing squad, one of Argentina's best squad in a very long time, and you think that this is now the moment. It's their one to watch out for in the World Cup. Neymar, he's also not getting any younger, and there's a lot riding on his career. He has achieved everything, but you'd want to say to go out gracefully and to leave a lasting impression And I don't think, and the thing is, either of them could not win this and nobody would care, right? Because they've already done enough. A World Cup doesn't solidify you as being the greatest. But yeah, Messi has an amazing team around him, has an amazing support. Neymar, he has a great attack partnership with others and the youngsters coming through, and it's just amazing to see. So yeah, last but not least, of course, Asia is going to be talked about. They didn't also have any upsets. They all qualified pretty well to be there. So I had to wait until all 29 teams were qualified, because every time I was like, let me just film this part. Then the next qualifying was like 2 days after. I'm like, let's just wait until everything is done. There are 4 more other games to be played in June. Those are like the extensive playoffs. But yeah, in all fairness, you know, there were big moments happening here at the qualifiers. We saw teams returning. We saw some giants making their exits. And I think this is going to set up to be a very, very entertaining World Cup. I think 2018 World Cup was, you know, just spectacular. So I'm expecting nothing less. Countries have now, you know, understood what the regime is in terms of international football. Those who have made the corrections that they should make. Those who have, you know, dipped into the young talent pool and make sure that the youngsters are a part of it. And there's just so much to go off on this World Cup. And of course, I'm going to be talking about the draw, because the draw is the day after I do this video. So I'll be talking about the group stage draws and what I think. And then later on the line for nearest to the World Cup, I'll talk about the World Cup and who I'm supporting and all those other things. But yeah, this video is just about qualifying and my opinion that nobody asked for. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and supporting my videos. It means the world to me, to be honest, and I want to keep doing this, and you guys inspire me to keep doing this. So like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good things. Doesn't matter what you do. But yeah, thank you guys so much.
Macedonia,